I'm Edie Lush, and I'm here at the Hub Culture Pavilion in Davos, and I'm really pleased to be joined by April Rinne, advisor, Shareable Cities, Sharing Economy. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the explosion of the sharing economy and here at Davos.
Yeah, so great question. I've been working in this space for quite a while, and I was at Davos 2 years ago waving my sharing economy flag, asking people, have you heard of the sharing economy? Have you heard of Airbnb? Have you heard of Zipcar? I got the vast majority of blank stares. Some people had heard of Zipcar because it had just been acquired, but only because of the acquisition. No one had heard of Airbnb. People looked at me like I was a bit mad when I talked about the sharing economy. And then last year there was one panel, which was okay, but kind of on the margins, and this year it feels like it's really reached center stage. So it's been featured in multiple sessions. I've spoken quite a lot about it. It's been everything from business innovation to cities to policy, all sorts of things. And what I also really like is that although we talk about it as a form of disruptive innovation, people seem to be much more focused on the innovation part, or innovation for good, as opposed to feeling that this is a threat. There's a much greater acknowledgement that this is just part of how the economy is likely to function moving forward.
So I wonder what your thoughts are in terms of how people can make a living out of the sharing economy.
It is definitely related to the future of work, no question. And what we look at is the ability to create markets that never existed before. Now, that's different than saying that the sharing economy is going to solve the jobs crisis. Not at all. One of the greatest benefits of the sharing economy is the ability to tap into flexible structures so that you can work a little bit here or there. And from where I stand, the sharing economy allows people to make supplemental income, allows them to boost their income, allows them to do things they wouldn't be able to do otherwise. It's still relatively rare, though, that someone looks at this as a full-time profession. So you're a host on Airbnb, you get additional income to help make ends meet. You're unlikely a full-time host, and that's all you do. The one exception is in the car sharing, ride sharing space, where you do see direct equivalence with taxi drivers. There we see quite a bit of tension and friction, but we also see markets opening up and more people participating than was the case before.
Just finally, I think we know about Airbnb, we know about the sort of big names in the sharing economy. What have you seen coming through that people might not have heard of?
This is where it gets really interesting, and companies like Airbnb that are large and global are absolutely the exception in terms of hundreds, now thousands, quite candidly, of sharing economy platforms are cropping up around the world in cities of all sizes across just about every activity you can imagine. So it's transportation and accommodation and office space being natural ones, but then anything related to children, clothing, toys. We see sharing economy platforms for pets, and obviously, of course, there are things like bicycles. I mean, everything. And now what we're seeing also is an expanded set of services, which I would think of as enabling or supporting services. So we now need to start thinking about, and we are, insurance, payments, all of the things that power the main sharing economy activity. So it really has gone from a case in which a couple of years ago people would say, what can you share? And now it's really, what can't you share?
April, thank you so much for stopping by the Hub Culture Pavilion here in Davos, and I'm Edie Lush.